Surya Sahan. Welcome to the Insurtech Story Podcast, the platform to spread knowledge on insurance innovation, digital disruption, and entrepreneurship. Our website, insurtechstory.com, and we are available on Spotify, Apple, Google, and Amazon Music. Today, we are going to discuss on the topic Insurtech investment trends in Asia. And for now, I'm delighted to welcome our guest, Stefan Tan, who is the Group Chief Strategy and Investment Officer at bolttech. Stefan is responsible for bolttech's corporate strategy and investments, including mergers and acquisitions. He is a founding executive of bolttech, a member of the executive committee, and secures organic and inorganic opportunities as part of bolttech's growth strategy and business expansion. With more than 15 years in international corporate finance experience, Stefan's previous roles include Vice President, Mergers and Acquisitions and Strategy at FWD and Chief Financial Officer at EduRect Insure Group, where he was overseeing several key functions including finance, legal, and HR. He started his career with investment banking at Citigroup, covering financial institutions in Europe. Outside of work, Stefan is a keen linguist and he enjoys playing football, squash, and chess. So, Stefan, warm welcome to the show.
Hi, Surya. Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me.
Great, Stefan. Firstly, thanks for your time for being on today's show uh, to discuss, briefly on what's the insurtech landscape looks like in the Asian region, particularly from the investment point of view. We would like to, uh, really want to ask how would you describe the current investment trends for insurtech startups, particularly in the context of bolttech?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for this. So this is great. Obviously, maybe we start with the obvious points.
Yeah,
Apparently, the current capital market environment has changed and is definitely more challenging, it feels, for startups in general, especially also for insurtech startups in the fundraising environment for sure. If you think about a couple of years back, I guess capital was much more accessible than today, I would say, number one. The investor sentiment was a bit different a few years back when we had the low interest rate environment. And obviously, with the pressure on big tech in general, on technology, on the insurtech trends now, the investor sentiment has changed, which means it is a bit more difficult for insurtech startups to raise funds these days. Investors, I would probably point out from our point of view, are much more selective in what kind of businesses they want to invest into. It takes definitely more time to get to an investment decision. It also requires definitely a much more stringent path to profitability, or the vision on path to profitability, not only very strong top line growth, a strong, viable business model, but definitely also like the trend towards profitability is something that has changed, I would say, in the last 2 or 3 years.
right. Just curious to know, how this trend has evolved, as you said, in past 3 or 4 years,
Mm.
or even beyond, and how the impact, or rather what the impact can be on the industry as a whole. We have seen,
Yeah.
there's a lot of ups and downs in the investment trajectories in the past 5 years, to be honest, and especially the last year was little, not so promising, but yet
Yeah.
again can be better.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, to summarize it, one key point I would say is it is harder to raise capital, but it's not impossible, right? And
Right.
I believe with our Series B fundraise that we just announced now, we have proven, and I hope this is also a positive sign for the insurtech sector in general, that it is possible to raise funds
Hmm.
as long as you keep focused on the right business model, right? So what has
Right.
changed in the past few years? Um, I think investor sentiment has not only been on the right business model to invest into the right businesses, but also to request for more structure, right? There's a lot of noise around. People say flat rounds are the new up round, and there are
Right.
a lot of downside protection features that investors are requesting now. So this is something that we have seen that people are asking for, certain guarantees like downside protection guarantees, higher liquidation preferences or PIK interest and all of these things. From a bolttech perspective, I can only tell you we have been very fortunate, of course, right? We raised now $196 million, a mega round for Series B. We believe it was the largest straight equity Series B for an Insurtech, at least in the last 12 months. And this just followed our Series A that we raised a year before that, where we raised close to 250 million. And that was also the largest Series A for an Insurtech, I think, in the history of the world. So we are fortunate to be in that situation, and we can talk more about what we probably have done differently to achieve this.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, of course, you guys are doing remarkably well in the industry as compared to many,
Thank you.
and especially the last round that you guys have raised. So, with this, my question to you is, what are the, or rather, who are the current investors in Baltic, and do you employ any particular strategy that attracts certain types of investors, or what kind of investors that Baltic is interested in attracting in the future? Something on this line, if you can, let us know your views.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So first of all, in terms of our investors, besides Pacific Century Group, which is our seed investor, we are fortunate to have this strong anchor investor who has been with us since the beginning. We have focused on different types of investors in both Series A and Series B, right? In Series A, we are focusing more on US tech VC investors. So the Series A was led by a company called Activent. They were leading our Series A, and there were other US tech-focused investors, as well as we are always open to government-related funds. The
Right.
State Fund of Singapore, EDBI, invested in both rounds. We are very fortunate to have that support, right? Because we are headquartered in Singapore, so we are always open to have regional support of partners like EDBI.
Hmm.
In Series B, that shifted. Our key focus in terms of investors was more on the strategic side. So we were fortunate to welcome Tokyo Marine as an investor, MetLife as an example, and just to be consistent in the sense of government-related funds, we also onboarded Khazanah as an example as our investor, the State Fund of Malaysia, and we had other financial investors such as Raffles.
Right, right. No, amazing. I mean, it's a great lineup there. So,
Yeah.
what's your future plans in the coming years? I mean, do you have any plans to expand out of Singapore, or you already have expanded and you want to make it more stronger, the presence there?
Yeah, it's a very good question. I mean, right now, we are already like bolttech as a group. Globally, we are already in 31 markets
Right,
across 3 continents, US, Europe, and Asia.
right.
So we are fortunate that we have this international scale already. And of course, we want to continue to grow in these existing markets. We have just launched Japan a couple of months ago, and we are always open to to enter new markets as well. The world is big enough, so there are still definitely some countries we are very interested in. But in the end, we are not here so to expand into new countries just for the sake of planting flags.
True,
The
true.
idea is more
Absolutely.
like we see ourselves, bolttech, as an enabler. We are
Yeah,
here to
yeah.
help building an insurance ecosystem to support the insurance carriers, to support distribution partners. We do B2B2C, and to grow with our partners into new markets. We are, for example, exclusive with Samsung. As an example, we started with them in Southeast Asia. We expanded into North Asia and now into Europe. So this is what we do, right? And this is what bolttech can provide, that we are expanding with our partners into
Yeah.
new countries they like to enter. And this is how we grow internationally. So in short, if you ask me in terms of our expansion plans, we're actually very happy in the countries we are currently in. We want to grow with our existing partners, and we are always open to partner with new distribution partners worldwide. And if it happens to be in a region we are currently not present in, we are very open to do a new expansion into these markets together.
Right. I mean, you guys are already a brand, not just in Southeast Asia. I mean, bolttech is something that people knows everywhere, and especially from the Insurtech startup landscape. I mean, you can really count the handful of ones who have made it big, and bolttech is one of them. So, of course, firstly, a massive congratulations to the team and you.
Yeah,
Um,
thank you so much.
Lastly, Stefan, I really would like to understand, beyond capital, are there other qualities or resources that you seek in your investors? Or could you share some example of non-monetary value that your investors have provided you? Because, in many of the investors around, people also ask that, what would really help them is the knowledge, is the expertise that the investors also bring in apart from the capital that, they pours in. So what is
Yeah,
your views on
absolutely.
that?
Yeah. Let me try to combine this question on what we also have done differently in our Series B, if that makes sense, and
Yeah,
if
please,
you're
that'll be
okay on
great.
sharing this. So what we have done differently, and this is connected to how we see these kind of investor relationships, is the market environment is so challenging that you can't just do a plain vanilla approach across any kind of investor, meaning it doesn't matter who you speak to as long as they give you capital, right? It needs to be much more of a bespoke investor approach. You have to understand who could be a suitable partner to you, not only as an investor, but a strategic partner who can actually create value together with you, right? And that's why our difference maybe has been in Series B. We have focused on ourselves. We have raised the capital by ourselves without being dependent too much on external advisors. And that makes a difference that we are quite bespoke or quite customized in terms of our investor approach and process. Meaning, when we talk to a US tech investor, it's fundamentally different how to cater to their needs versus a Japanese conglomerate like Tokyo Marine, right? So you would need to dedicate more time. You would need to dedicate more time to answer their questions and to find strategic ways of how you can collaborate in the future. And I combine this of what are we looking for in our investors. The key point of what we can bring and what we are believing in is forming true partnerships with our investors. So this is the key thing. What are we looking for? We're not only looking for investors who actually provide capital and that's it, and you never talk to them again unless you have a board meeting.
Yeah,
The key
yeah.
point here is to form a true strategic partnership. So I give you that example with Tokyo Marine. They are an amazing partner. Let's say, one of the more progressive traditional insurance carriers out of Japan, and they are very international, right? And we are trying to partner now with them on underwriting components, but also on product innovation and so on in multiple countries. That can be in North Asia. We just launched something in Taiwan. We have many, many different initiatives across Southeast Asia with them. And of course, we are going to launch a couple of things in Japan, in their home market, right? And this is the idea. So not only are they invested in us and they led our Series B, Tokyo Marine, but we also try to create value in their ecosystem, and they allow us to open their ecosystem to us, where we can get distribution access, where we can get access into their partnerships or portfolio companies, and where we can deploy the bolttech technology that makes their operations better.
Right. Of course. I mean, it's really boils down to striking the right balance on how you're executing your operations, right? So
Yeah,
it's a
absolutely.
fantastic way of, doing it. Like you explained, beyond capital, what exactly is the key thing that a company would need from the investors? So of course, money, capital is one big part, but besides that, what exactly would add value to a company when it
Yeah.
comes to the growth strategy, right? So it's
Yeah.
some lovely points that you've brought across, Stephen, and I'm sure, especially from the investment point of view, this is one of our rare podcast session that we are having focused on the investment part for Insurtech in the Asia Pacific region. So the listener is going to get immensely benefited by the knowledge and the thought leadership that you have shared for us. Thanks very much and a fantastic discussion. And thank you for the thoughts today. A true delight to have you as our guest.
Thank you so much for having me.
And last, to wrap this up, thank you for listening and see you at our next episode. Take care and stay safe. Bye for now.